stands for Picture Archiving Communication System. It's an acronym that the medical community has established to utilize a format universally so that everybody that's producing digital images, be they created through a CT, an MRI, ultrasound, or whatever, those images can be transmitted, stored, and accessed either locally or by remote sites. The traditional way of working with film in the medical community involves a lot of hands-on work, so it's very labor intensive. Somebody would have to go get a piece of film and load it into a cassette in a darkroom setting typically, and then expose the patient, and then take that cassette, or again back into a darkroom, and take the film out of the cassette and load that into a processing machine so that the film would be processed and ultimately would present you with an image, a piece of film that had a picture on it. One of the most important issues today is that the film costs continue to increase. Another issue is the actual issue of storing all these images. Most states require that all images are stored for a minimum of 5 to 7 years. Some films have to be stored for the life of the patient. So we have this constant growing issue of where am I going to put all these images? And then ultimately, how can I access these images specifically for each patient as that patient returns for another procedure? As we kind of mentioned before, because so many people have to touch an actual piece of film, and every time somebody touches a piece of film, whether to label it, or to put it in a file jacket, or to move it from one room to another room so somebody can view it, and then ultimately it has to be pulled off of that view box and then back into a file jacket, then transported to a storage room. Every time that happens, it costs because somebody has been paid to do that job. The other thing that happens is because somebody has to physically move it, it takes time. And if it takes time to move it, then of course who's waiting for the results of that image review? And that's the patient. And one of the things that digital imaging should really be focused on as far as an outcome is increased or improved levels of patient care. I think one of the most important issues that people share with me is the issue of lost images, lost films. And when you have something that is physical, it can be lost, whether it's your car keys, your credit card, your wallet. In this case, we're talking about medical images. And there's so many different ways that an image can be lost. The real point is that they are lost. The national average has been reported as high as 7%. So if you take a look at your individual institution, your site, your business place, and you say that we're losing on average 7% of our images, that's a lot of revenue that somehow has to be recuperated. It's something else has to happen, which is how am I going to retake that image? And what are the consequences of that? I have to re-expose the patient to more radiation levels. It's inconvenience and sometimes uncomfort for the patient, especially if it's like an extremity that might have been fractured. How much pain does it take to get that person onto the table or into the modality to retake that image? And then who's going to pay for that retake? Because the insurance company doesn't pay for it, so it comes right out of your bottom line. Another one of the big concerns in today's medical imaging community is image quality. And when we go back and compare against film, we all understand that image quality on a piece of film degrades over time. It's been proven. The film companies all know this and they help you understand that. But from a personal standpoint, go back and take a look at your old 35mm negs that you have of your family. Go back and take a look at your slides that you took when you were younger and used to put them in those carousels. And pull one of those out and take a look at it. Film degrades over time. The big advantage is with digital, the image that I took 5 years ago is exactly the same today. It has not changed, and it will never change as long as it's stored in a proper environment. Additionally, because I have a network set up in my site, multiple people can view the same image simultaneously, which is almost impossible with film unless we all congregate in front of a small view box in a small room somewhere. So being able to have you look at it in your office, I can look at it in my office, and in fact if we have an associate maybe in another state who's a specialist that we want to view, we can all look at that same image and the same quality of image all at the same time. Another big advantage. Providing a system of checks and balances should be an integral part of any PACS system. In the manual methodology of reading films, it was often unknown of which studies had been read, which studies were yet to be read. Whereas in a digital environment, the PACS system can actually create a work list for the physician to work off of. Once he goes through that work list, those images or those patient names are moved from a pending list to a completed list almost automatically. So there's an excellent way for him to track what he's already accomplished and yet what has to be done for him during that workday. So the benefits of what the PACS can do are, in a quick review, we'd say, it's going to reduce the patient wait times, number one. So we're going to overall improve the patient care, which is very important. We're going to be able to review images in different locations simultaneously. We eliminate film, chemistry, the stickers, the folders, all the manual aspects, and what we get into is an automated workflow process that really enhances and benefits our overall business procedures. The single most important objective of any PACS system is to improve patient care by optimizing workflow. The key components of any PACS system are really the archive, which is going to store and manage the images, the workstation for reviewing the images, and some kind of a router or gateway, which is going to be able to take away from the manual steps and automate the flow of those images in and throughout your site. Some of the options that PACS can provide to the client include putting images in each of the exam rooms. We can also send to a specialist. We can integrate with an EMR if you're using electronic medical records. Image availability from my home is a big one that physicians and radiologists like to deal with. Images available on my smartphone or my iPad. Technologies have changed so that that's now possible. And a lot of times when you're providing images to local referrings or even for patients to take as they move from city or state to state, we can burn images onto a CD, either with or without small viewing software. The PACS system should be able to offer the user a choice of different reading environments. And what we mean is, if you prefer landscape or portrait mode monitors, you should have that choice. If you want high-resolution grayscale monitors, you should have that choice. And your PACS software should be able to offer viewing solutions to fit those needs. New Course PACS software is designed to fit any one of those types of viewing situations. If you prefer the high-end, we can provide that. If you want a cost-effective, single-point, landscape, widescreen viewing so that the images and all the tools are on screen at the same time, that's available for you now as well. And another concern, of course, is going to be the cost of a system. If we step back and say that 15 years ago, a workstation with 2 monitors was probably $25,000. That's just 10, 15 years ago. Today, because the electronics have changed so much to our advantage, we get high-resolution laptops, we get memory built in the motherboard, we get graphics cards that are incredibly fast. All these things have helped bring the cost down. The software has to change with that. So what you end up today with is a a hybrid system that allows you to get more storage capacity, better viewing with less cost. The archive is typically the part of the PAC system that's alive because it has the ability to expand and grow as your practice expands and grows. One of the key things you're looking for here is that the automation of these images is very important. You want automated workflow as much as possible. If the images can be sent into the system automatically, and then the gateway or the router can take over those images and disperse those as you need them dispersed, that's going to be very, very important and very effective. The size of the archive actually depends upon how many images you take specifically at your facility. If you're a large site, you're going to need a larger archive. If you're a small private practice, if you're a veterinarian, if you're a chiropractor, you're going to take less images. You don't need a giant archive. So make sure that you only buy about 2 years worth of storage at your initial investment for your PACs. Another feature of the archive is query retrieve. A PAC system needs to be able to, again, push automatically the images that you want sent to different locations to those locations without any interference from a person. Also, at times, the physician or the radiologist is going to need to query specific images or patients, and it needs the ability to do that DICOM query. Let me go get what I want, when I want, and get those brought back to me at my workstation, be it at my home, my office, or an exam room. My name is Greg Perry, and I'm the General Manager for Nucor Solutions. Please feel free to call me at 866-388-5615.